Hi guys, and welcome back to the Greenwich Literary Symposium book club reviews. This month we have been reading the new novel by Stephen King called Outsider. I don't know why I need to say that so slow. Cheers guys.
Cheers.
Another book finished. So what did we all think of Outsider by Stephen King? It was a very big book.
Huge. You can't see because we've got Kindles.
The book was so big that we are in London and I couldn't fit it in my suitcase to bring it here to show you the size of it.
The writing was...
It arrived in a box. It arrived in a box. You sent a message saying it arrived in a box.
And maybe it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was only, what, 400 pages?
550 something.
Oh. And it was a big bastard of a book.
So the rough plot is that... What?
Katie always says what it was about.
Sorry.
So what's it about, Katie?
Okay, so...
That's as iconic a line as "Hi guys."
The rough plot is there's been an awful murder, and there's a guy that fits the
Description?
Profile.
So there's a terrible murder. There's a guy there seems to be a lot of evidence that did it. There's eyewitnesses that saw him near the murder scene. There's DNA evidence to say that he was
cut and dry. He did it.
Cut and dry. He did it. But also at the same time, he was 200 miles away at a conference, and there's video evidence of him being there. And kind of mystery and creepiness ensues.
Yeah. And it starts off quite criminal investigation.
Yeah.
And it turns into sci-fi horror, would you say?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say horror. I'd just say...
Oh no, I got quite scared one night actually, because I read a bit quite late, and then I got quite scared that night.
Oh, okay. It was very, not even sci-fi. What's the word? It wasn't science fiction, it was otherworldly. It was
fantasy fiction.
Fantasy.
Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Shit.
However, I didn't think it was shit. I've been waiting to break this to you guys. I quite liked it.
Can I tell you why I thought it was shit?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was shit. I'm just mad at it. I didn't enjoy it. I read it in a short space of time. It was definitely a gripping page turner, but I didn't like it for these reasons. When they realised that this creature or whatever that's killing people is supernatural.
That is a disappointment. That is a big disappointment. Yeah,
it felt a little bit like a cop-out to start with. And then this one woman who's an investigator reads a few articles on a plane. By the time she gets off the plane, she goes to meet the Scooby Gang that are trying to solve the case.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo, isn't it? Like...
Yeah, and all of a sudden she knows everything about this killer, even though, this is just a hunch based on El Cuco, an old Mexican legend. But she knows absolutely everything about it. She knows what the killer's next move is going to be, and everyone kind of just buys it.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other guy, like the kind of the counter villain, who's trying to kill the Scooby Gang, has one vision, one thing where he wasn't sure if it was a dream kind of thing. The killer says, go and kill these guys. And so he goes, okay. Is that the whole thing is just done with this kind of tacit acceptance?
Yeah, I get that.
It's just really unbelievable.
Because, and for the girth of the book,
yeah,
there's no need for it to be so tenuous, is there really?
Yeah.
I suppose they could have gone into a lot more detail about these different characters and why they responded the way they did and things like that. So, yeah, okay.
It felt like... Oh, and then he woke up and it had all been a dream. It felt that kind of, really?
I was gripped, I think it was a big book and I managed to stay quite gripped in it.
Yeah.
So I think it was good, it was great writing in that sense. I was so disappointed in the ending again. I'm sick of these endings where it's all based on the little sayings, and once again the cantaloupe and the melon, the cantaloupe, the maggots inside the cantaloupe. And I was, oh god, are we still on that?
Yeah.
Because alright, that was a metaphor and it was relevant and that was fine, but I was over that metaphor the fifth time you used it, and it was just all too quaint and cute and it all ended happily ever after kind of that annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah.
It was too rounded off for me at the end.
As much as I'm saying I thought it was a bit crap and I didn't love it, this is like Stephen King, and it's the first Stephen King book I've ever read, so I can't help but feel some of the problem might be me. Like maybe there's some kind of like hidden metaphor in it that I've not understood. At one point I thought, like, you know, that guy's scared of cancer, and so he's running from that, and that's his demon.
Yeah,
Or like looking at people's personal things
that.
or something.
Yeah,
but it wasn't obvious enough for me. If there was something like that, I was trying to find it and I couldn't. What did you think?
I really enjoyed the first third of it. I thought this
when
was
it was still a criminal investigation.
Yeah.
I agree.
And there was so much emphasis over the murder of this boy that had kind of been sodomised and left in this weird position.
Yeah.
And I wanted to then go into his family and how the child that we kind of became invested in, like how that was all connected to the person that killed it. But then it just went on to these other people being killed, and we kind of never heard any more about that character. And I would have rather it just be about a man that gets convicted of killing a boy, and then going into the boy and the family and how that man's connected or not, and then put in your supernatural twist.
I just don't think that I would have loved it if the whole thing had been explained without the supernatural twist.
Yeah.
Because all the way through, as much as like the investigators into the original crime were hoping there was not some weird supernatural twist, I was as well, because I kept thinking, if somebody can explain themselves out of this, they are an incredible writer and have like such an incredible mind. So I kept thinking, wow, Stephen King, I had so much, I still have a lot of respect, but I was so impressed with the way he was going to go, where he was going to go with it, and that's not where he went with it. He went a different.
Okay, so for me, out of 5, it was a 2.
Oh gosh!
Just gonna lay that down.
I was gonna go 3.5.
I was going to go 3.5.
Okay.
Because I did enjoy it. I just think maybe it wasn't my kind of book. When we chose Stephen King, I thought he was all about horror. I didn't realise he writes this supernatural
I got like
stuff.
a tiny bit of horror in about 2 chapters, and I loved it, and I was like, yes!
But it just
And I
wasn't
was
what
like
I was
thinking,
expecting.
Yeah.
And I would never choose to read a book about a supernatural killer.
Well, do you not remember
I
reading some of the
would,
reviews
but-
on Goodreads, and they were calling it chilling and bone-curlingly creepy?
Yeah, but
and
they all do say
I want my
that.
money back.
The thing that I was, and I said this before as well, is that it makes out in the blurb that it's like there's a way, it says something about, is it possible for one man to be in 2 places at the same time? And you believe, that's why I thought Stephen King was going to explain how this character was in 2 places at the same time. He doesn't. And therefore the blurb is really misleading, and that's what annoyed me about it, I suppose.
But I guess it wasn't, because when you throw supernatural into it...
Yeah, but we're talking about, is it possible? But with the supernatural, if you believe in the supernatural, then yeah, it's possible. If you believe in the supernatural, anything is possible. And therefore, it didn't insinuate that it was talking about the supernatural, it's insinuated it was talking about like what we believe in in our own restrictions of the world. And that was annoying for me. Anyway.
I did enjoy it, and I did read it very quickly.
Yeah.
So, I was happy to keep reading it. I just wish it could have chosen the first storyline and stayed with it. But no, I'd give it a 3.5.
I've worked out in my head anyway, because 3.5 and 3.5 and 2 makes it a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm happy with a 3.
That?
I'm not happy
You're
with
not
it, but
happy with it.
I'm happy
You're
to
gonna have to
concede.
with it,
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Great.
So what's next?
Next month we are reading This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, The Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor. And it says 97-hour weeks, life and death decisions, a constant tsunami of bodily fluids, and the hospital parking meter earns more than you. Welcome to the life of a junior doctor. Scribbled in secret after endless days, sleepless nights and missed weekends, Adam Kay's diaries provide a no-holds-barred account of his time on the NHS frontline. Hilarious, horrifying and heartbreaking, this is everything you wanted to know and more than a few things you didn't about life on and off the hospital ward. We saw this guy doing a stand-up comedy show, which I think is based on this book, about his time in the NHS. And he was very good and engaging, and I've heard a lot about the book. So we're going to give it a go. This is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. So as always, let us know in the comments below if you've read the Stephen King book Outsider and what you thought of it, if you agree with us and if you didn't. And go out and get your copy of This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, and tune in next month when we will give you our thoughts. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.